Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. I know this is a show that a lot of people have been waiting for. Definitely after all that's happened at Origins, I know people are, want to know my reactions, my thoughts, and everything that goes along with it. So, first off, I like to say congrats to Howard Brock, who had a awesome Origins. World champion in both teams and in teams and singles. Congrats to him. Congrats to Dustin for becoming the U.S. national champ, and congrats to my teammates who we were in every finals. PJ Bolin and Matt Grecanos. So shout outs to them. Let's go ahead and sort of like break some things down and looking at Origins and the implications of Origins going forward as an event, and not just as an event, but what a player needs to prepare for going on. Also, shout outs to all the listeners / viewers who were there that said hi. Also, shout outs to T3 Symbio and Brett, or whoever the other guy is. I apologize. I forgot your name. You don't have like a cool meta name. You need a cool mutant name. I don't know. Maybe the Flash, or the Red Spider-Man or something. I don't know. You need something cool. You can remember Symbio. Now, if you ask me to tell you Symbio's real life name, probably can't. It's just like half the folks just know me as Dark Logos. It's easy to remember the meta name. You can have a Native American name. It's like he who speaks of 1,000 eagles or something cool like that. Anyway, if we sort of going into the event, I'm documented to have pretty much the most negative perspective you can possibly have. I personally thought that this was just going to be a utter crap show, mainly because Nationals being a thing on top of Worlds, on top of Team Worlds. So there's a lot of stuff that's just crammed into the schedule. Fortunately, on the first day, I was able to get second place in my qualifier, and I sort of went in saying hey, whatever I was going to play with my qualifier, I was going to play throughout the rest of the weekend. And buddy, I lied to myself on that one. Yeah. So there was that. But when we look at the first day really, I gotta be honest to you. If you're going to do qualifiers, you want to qualify on the first day. And I know some of the people are going to be like, well, no duh, Dark Logos. You want to qualify on the first day. But the main reason you want to qualify on the first day is something that I don't think a lot of people have talked about. It's that when you go into when you end that first day, you either know if you have 4 points or 8 points. Okay, you either know you're going to have 4 points or 8 points. You can play two grinders, get second place in both of them. You're in Worlds. And I'm speaking about this from a perspective of a person that did not qualify for Nationals. Make that clear up front. I'm speaking from a standpoint of a person who did not qualify for Nationals. Getting 4 points on the first day is so huge, you don't know why it's so huge. So take, for example, the first grinder. It pretty much was equivalent of the finals of a rock. I think there was Aaron Cantu, Patrick, Kevin, Warren, Jen, Easton. there was just a whole bunch of people like concentrated into like the first 3 tables of pods of 8. I just looked at that and I just said, hell no to that. Okay. And you would say, well, Dark Logos, are you sort of punking out? No, not punking out. It's just that I don't mind fighting to get my points. Okay, that's one thing. But fighting and going into a unnecessary grind when I don't have to, that's a different thing. Now, if I was like, trying to freaking up my chi levels and stuff and become, super mega form, final form Dark Logos in a grinder, instead of letting that happen organically, then yeah, I would be doing that. If I was, trying to, if I had something that I know I wasn't playing in the World Championships, then yeah, I would love to go into that. But heck no. Heck to the is no playing that grinder. But anyway, getting the points on the first day is essential. And let me expand why. Because when you go into the second day, most of the more difficult players to face are in nationals. Now, you have a limited window. Now, for you to get 8 points out of nationals instead of 4 points out of nationals, you need to be on what I call the top side of the mountain, which is the top 50%. Once you enter into the top 50%, then you automatically get 8 points and you qualify for Worlds. So, truthfully, I got 12 points for the entire weekend. It doesn't matter much, but I got 12 points. Somewhere, somehow, someone's counting points, and it's like, Dark Logos, you statistically did better than the average participant because out of 2 events, you scored blank points, over 2 events, or whatever. And what's the worst part of it? It's like you have scored 6 points over 2 events. It's like easy math. Anyway, someone's going to still say, like, I'm above the statistical average and all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So if you did not qualify for nationals or you go into a WizKids Open, it's not in your foreseeable future, ever, then I would definitely say if you're trying to get into Worlds, your best bet is to day one, sort of chill, get into a couple of grinders, get that done and out the way. Okay, get that done and out the way. Once you're done with that, okay, get your 4 points. If you can get your 8 points, great, be done. Have battle royales on day 2. Go do that. Okay, now on day 2 you have literally a 1 grinder window, maybe 2 if you're unfortunately if you lost your first or your second round. Because by round 3, that's how long people have to participate to get their 4 points to qualify for Worlds. Now, you just having to last till round 3 is huge. Okay? And the main reason that is huge is that, let's just say next year they don't do 6 rounds, they do 5. That gives you 3 hours to get done. And if your average game for nationals is somewhere between 35 and 45 minutes, and yes, I did state that correctly, then if your average grinder time is being run like in on that same sort of similar time scale, by the time you finish out one grinder, the people that are like 1 and 2 or whatever are going to just drop, and you're going to deal with them, and you're going to deal with their full wrath. Okay, so you have from the rest of the day onward to try to deal with everybody that didn't make it into the top half of the mountain. Okay, so those people are just trying to get 4 points. Now, they might have whatever frustrations they may have from the day, and they may decide to take it out on you. Just be mindful, like, that has a high probability of happening. Okay? Just a high probability of happening. All right, so now let's go into worlds. You scored between the 2 days, you scored your points. All right. Going into worlds, you gotta be mindful. Short rounds favor excessively aggressive teams or excessively defensive teams. Okay, now let me explain and break that down. It favors excessively aggro teams because the game's over in 5 minutes. Time isn't a factor. It helps excessively defensive teams because usually the time taken to break down those teams is usually, maybe 40 minutes before everything starts to crumble. And then, once the cracks are showing, then the defense starts breaking down. But if you're looking, and we're going to bring up Magical Calculator, okay? So if we have, let's just say, we're going to go on average. We have a 40-minute round, okay? And let's just say both players equally use half the time. So, of course, that's going to leave you with 20 minutes each. So let's just say that if you're doing a 2-minute turn, that's going to give you 10 turns, okay? Now, that's if you operate by a 2-minute turn and both sides are using time equally. Of course, you can have turns shorter than that, but on average, you need to be able to hold out or resolve the game within 10 to respectively 13 turns. Now, you might say, what's the huge difference between 10 turns and 13 turns? And that really just comes down to a clear in 2 attacks. That's the big difference. Okay, so a game can easily be resolved after a clear or multiple or subsequent clears and pushes. An attack and a push. Okay, so you're looking between 10 to 13 turns on average. Now that again is abiding by the factor that from turn 1 you're taking 2 minutes in your turn. Now this is where things get a little bit more hectic. Now again, let's just say both players are using getting 20 minutes, okay, and then let's just say that you're looking at 3-minute turns, okay. Now you're looking at 6 turns. Okay, it's somewhere between 6 to 8 turns in that 40-minute prospect window. That really favors aggressive teams. If you're talking about the average player. Okay? Now, I know some of you are listening to this and you're like, Dark Logos, really? Like, why would somebody like A play that slow or whatever, or B, isn't this like the world championship and high level play? Like, isn't everybody a freaking heroclix genius? No. I've had multiple of my players get slow played, like legit slow played throughout the tournament, and so I'm not going to use that as, oh, my teammates got slow play, so they didn't do X, Y, and Z. No, we have been. I've stated it before. If you feel your opponent is slow playing, you call a judge. Just call a judge. There's no harm, no foul. And so, anyway, when I look at that, on average, you're going to get 6 to 7 turns. Now, again, like I said, that's if both players are using the time clock equally, which we know, your opponent can choose not to. And then also you can have something as quick as like a 30-second turn where you clear. Okay? But when you look at that really favors aggressive positioning, aggressive attacking, throwing a lot of dice really quickly, and getting a bunch of actions off. Like, real talk, the 50-point Captain Americas are stupid. From an action gaining perspective. Now I know when the new rules comes out, they're going to be a lot more toned down, but still getting 4 actions with your Avengers theme team and being +5, +6, that's going to matter. So anyway, keeping it rolling. The other thing is, like, when you going through worlds, understanding that you're going from your 5 rounds immediately into, like, I think you're going to get like a 30-minute lunch break. Like, they don't give you like a 45-minute hour lunch break. They give you a 30-minute lunch break. They about getting this stuff done. Okay, so you going from 5 rounds, 5 rounds lunch, top 32. Now, also, I want you to be mindful of, and I'm rewinding back to Nationals real quick, you're not getting prized out if you just make the top half of Nationals. So you're not getting like one Con LE or anything. Your prize is your points. Same thing with the bottom half of Nationals. Your prize is your points. If you get like up there and top 16, you'll get prized out. Nice prizing. But everybody else, your prize is getting them points. Okay, forward back to Worlds. Okay, now, when we're looking at 5 rounds, top 32, top 16, top 8, top 4, finals. If you make it all the way to the finals, you play 10 rounds of heroclix. That's a lot of heroclix. Okay, and I'm just gonna let everybody know, I favor 5-round Swiss over 6-round Swiss. I appreciate 6-round Swiss when it came to Nationals. And if you have enough bodies that require 6-round Swiss, I can't hate on that. When you talk about over 150 people in the field, I respect that. But when we're talking about grinding it out from beginning to end, if I feel like I have a high chance of getting in that winner seat, it behooves me to better have 5 rounds of Swiss versus 6 rounds of Swiss because of mental endurance. You can be a freaking Zen Jedi Lord or whatever, and 11 rounds of heroclix is going to wipe you. 10 rounds of heroclix is going to wipe you. Okay, so let's not pretend that that's not going to have an effect on you. Then also, like, stack in effects like being sick. And I'm going to touch on this real briefly when it comes to Easton and his play, I think, in the semifinals with the Cosmic Spider-Man. There are 2 elements that I look at with Easton's decision to drop Spider-Man. If not, you can look at the T3's video of it. Okay. And here's the issue I look at. Number 1, it's evident that Easton operates heavily from scripts. Okay. And what I mean by scripts is that if such condition occurs, do X, Y, and Z. And then he already knows how X, Y, and Z is going to turn out. So it's not even an experiment. It just comes down to hitting. Okay? So the problems comes in is, and this is my speculation part, is I believe that he had been practicing with Cosmic Spider-Man wrong. It's easy to do that because of transference. Okay? Transference from a psychological perspective is this. You see something and it reminds you of something else. And in humans, we tend to make similar things, assumptions about similar things acting the same way we saw the other thing act. So, Cosmic Spider-Man ignores everything. And so, you would think that the new Cosmic Spider-Man would ignore everything. Now, note how I phrased that. I said Cosmic Spider-Man. Because inherently, in my mind, the Cosmic Spider-Man that always will be referenced is the Amazing Spider-Man, Cosmic Spider-Man, not the What If Spider-Man. Okay. Now, we take that a step further, and then you can start to see how easily transference can occur. Because even if I say Cosmic Spider-Man, if you're an older player, you're automatically going to think about the older Cosmic Spider-Man because of how dominant it was. If you're a newer player, you never really have dealt with Cosmic Spider-Man, so you're more likely to think of the new one. Now this has an issue when we deal with like our personal databases. Your personal database doesn't necessarily update like a computer, and it doesn't necessarily flush old data. What it does is like, more Cosmic Spider-Man, boom, okay. Now, another similar thing is I could sort of tell you is like Magneto. Now, depending on when you started, if I say the best Magneto, you can think all the way back to the Ultimate set with Ultimate Magneto. You can think back to Armor Wars with Sitting Chair or House of M Magneto. If you were also playing during Giant Size X-Men, you could think about that Magneto as one of the best Magnetos. Now, if you're a newer player and you came in during AVX, you might think about AVX Magneto or the 90.11 attack 4 damage, what the heck is wrong with WizKids Magneto. But no one ever plays that, so what's wrong with us? Back at us, Magneto. Okay, so we start to see, okay, we start to see that if I say like, yeah, and he played Magneto, there's a lot of backfield that could come in, but recently because of PJ Boland's play with Magneto on his team during the Rocks earlier this year, people are going to think 50-point Magneto. All right. Now, sort of going back, there's transference that occurred, a lot of bad practicing, a lot of assumptions. So when it gets down to the final moments in which a definitive call was supposed to be made, he made the wrong call. Okay? Because it was clear from intent what he was trying to do. Now, if the judge was to rewind it back so that he would be allowed to do what he wanted to do, it would be rewinding about 4 moves. First, it would be to reposition the TK. So that's one. The second is to make sure that whoever he's using to summon Cosmic Spider-Man in would be, in the perfect position. Then you would have the actual summoning, so there's 2. Okay. Then you have any side steps or anything that Cosmic Spider-Man would do. That's 3. Then the actual attack of Cosmic Spider-Man. That's 4. That's too many actions to rewind for game state. So I know some people after seeing some of these things say like, hey, active judging, blah blah blah, it's a bad thing because both players should have caught this and that's on them. No, this is why active judging is a good thing, because that's a game state that shouldn't have resolved, that the judge needs to step in and say, hey, that shouldn't happen. Now, yes, there are other parties that said to the judge, yo, look, that's not legal. That's still fine. As long as they didn't interrupt the game and say, hey, that's not legal, that's fine. The judge is the acting party, because the judge can say easily to somebody's statement, nope, that is legal, or game state's progressed too far, I'm going to let that slide. Okay, the other thing is Easton was sick. Like, he couldn't hold down anything. And I'm not using this as a slam. He was literally sick. So I'm not expecting him to be the most chipperest or on point dude. He was throwing up in between break, the top 32 and in the quals. So it was, he wasn't in the best position. And so he had ate something bad the previous night. And Howard was taking care of him. And then Mrs. Brock is there, trying to, let folks know that are, run the event that Easton is on his way and Howard's with him. So with all that being said, props to Howard and props to Easton. Because if you played 9 freaking rounds of heroclix and you're sick or you're taking care of a person that's sick, bravo to you. Okay, but still, he's sick. That's going to affect his mind state. He's dehydrated, and his caloric is low. He's not going to be the clearest of mind, and he's not going to be the happiest of campers. So, like, whatever happened on his game with Matt Grecanos, I understand. Now, some folks would say, hey, Dark Logos, your guy won, that's why you're happy. I'm like, no, that's not why. It's just more of, I understand and I empathize with going through a tournament sick. I just do. Okay? So, let's sort of going on and looking past worlds, and yeah, let's just going on looking past worlds, or summing up worlds as an event. It's a lot of rounds. It's a lot of endurance that you have to have physically and mentally, and then again, even with short rounds, it's a lot of time that you're playing heroclix. I would also say the facility does not necessarily lend towards your hydration. I don't know who the hell designed that convention hall, but the amount of water fountains are severely lacking. Like, so bad. When you have to supplement your water supply with pretty much, I don't want to say bottled water, but it's, you know, those big old tubs of water, and that's really not enough for your population. Yeah, there you have a problem. That needs to be addressed like hardcore. You know, or like either a venue change or something. There has to be something done. Because I know people would say, well, it benefits the mall and it benefits the vendors, and it does benefit the vendors in the mall a crap ton because they can charge $3 for a Gatorade. All right, but at the same time, like, just for the good for your populace, it's not that's not a good thing to have. But yeah, so let's keep going. Team Worlds had like 180 participants, which makes it like the largest freaking event that WizKids has ever hosted. Which I'm like, good golly, Miss Molly, that is huge. Okay, when you sort of, you know, you break it down, you get your 180 players divided by 3. That gives you 60 teams. 60 teams. That's a lot. Now, the other good news with that is breaking into top 32, because I think we did break it. As many games as I played, we've had to break into top 32. Breaking the top 32 means that if you bat 500 as a team, you're good. You're going to get in. Because they're taking 32, which is going to be over half of the field. So there's a positive of that. Now, if they were taking 16, that would be horrible. That would be horrible, because then you're talking about almost a quarter of the field. Sorry, almost a third of the field making it up into out rounds. So I like it. I think that I feel that this setup for teams and having the volume of teams that we have, and then just breaking into a top 32 makes it so that it's enjoyable. I think I saw more people having fun with heroclix, with the Avengers Defenders War set, than I had seen over the last few days. Now, what I hate to say is, this really sort of shows the problem with heroclix right now. It's not necessarily the product, quote unquote, in general. The problem with heroclix is the management of the high-end pieces and resources and special objects. But that's something for a bit later. You can, now, how they handle the boosters, I'm mixed about. Now, no, this is not me being salty about Lucky Dice Games pools. Please understand that. But understand how they were able to get the pools they got was purely based on how WizKids did the boosters. Okay, so for people who don't know, WizKids went through, pretty much jumbled up all the boosters, inserted magical tickets in there if you inside the boosters, and they also had magical tickets magical giveaway if you went and you paid for the event ticket, because they want you to buy the event ticket. So just in the future, if anybody retroactively listens to this, go and tell future self to buy the event ticket for Team Worlds. It's worth it. Okay, so going on. Sorry. So because they jumbled up all the boosters, that means, and it's different than what they've done in the past. In the past, what they would do is they would have a brick, open the brick, and then hand you product. Now, since you're getting 6 boosters, you're not getting a whole brick. You're getting 2/3 of a brick. All right. So eventually there's going to be somebody that's going to partially get screwed from pools, because they're going to get the butt of the last brick and then a couple of boosters out of the other brick, and just due to placement, they might not pull anything worth quality. Just saying hypothetically. Okay. Now, because all the boosters were just jumbled the heck together, what that did is it created a situation where Lucky Dice Games team was able to get a high concentration of high rarity pieces. This gave them higher odds of winning. It did not guarantee them winning. Okay? But when you look at the skill level of the team plus the pool, the odds of them losing, even if the brackets were changed, is really low. I'm not trying to make excuses for myself. I'm not trying to make it so that it seemed like Howard, Easton, and Warren had any unfair advantage. I'm not making fun of any other rest of the people in Team Worlds. But legit, you have high-level people with good pulls. I mean, hey, you're going to go far. So, I mean, that's just how Sealed goes. Okay. And I know someone's going to be like, so you don't think it's a test of skill, Dark Logos? No, it was a full test of skill. Because they still had to play what they pulled. And Warren's team was like one super rare and the rest commons. But I think one of the bigger problems that I personally sort of saw while playing Sealed is that if you have a super rare, your tactical advantage is way stronger than if you made a team up of commons and uncommons. Like, just straight up, you have so much more of a tactical advantage. It's not even funny. So when you looked at a sealed aspect, I hate to say it like this, you know, is sealed balanced and is sealed fair? I truthfully feel like you're looking at a scale of more and less fair. Okay? It's more fair because you're able to take away some of the, I would say, excessive elements that makes the game stressful. At the same time, if you pull crap, you pull crap. Now, I would tell you this, if this was What If, oh gosh, complete crap show. Like, did you pull Goblin King? Did you pull Cosmic Spider-Man? Did you pull Peace Machine? Did you pull the 45-point Dr. Stark? Who else? Peter the Hunter. Maybe Gertrude and Old Lace. Maybe. Okay? Just maybe. But when you look at that, like I got to be honest, I'm like, that would have been a horrible sealed. Like, I would hate to have played that, you know. So yeah, because there's just too much crap in that. There's literally too much crap in what if for it to even be a functional, playable set and sealed. I'm just gonna be honest. It's a horrible sealed set. Anyway, so going back, just with the amount of rounds that we had in Team Worlds, I'm fine with 5 rounds. I feel 5 rounds is more than enough. Breaking the top 32 was great, and that's it. Like, overall, I can't complain. You know, and now some people would say, like, oh yeah, you got paid out. Of course you can't complain. I mean, like, just structurally as an event, I can't complain. So, there you go. Now, there were some side elements that did happen at Origins. So when Howard won, I know some people wanted to run into the WizKids appreciation thing and yell, The Rock won the championship. Which I personally, I get it. I understand why people wanted to do that to sort of justify Rock, and I understand, and I'll leave it at that. I understand why those people had that perspective. At the same time, I look at that event and I told people it's like watching your son fight your friend. That's sort of how I felt watching that game. If I think you would have like the most entertaining like stream or video ever of watch Dark Logos react to the 2017 World Championship game. So there's that as well. All right, so there was something I alluded to, I think, a little bit earlier about like the type of format when you look at Worlds. And I've had conversations with multiple people, and one of the best conversations I had about this was with Wesley Summers, or Wes Summers, and he pretty much, it went like this. You have a builder meta, and then you have a pilot meta. A builder meta allows for a lot of gotchas, or allows for lots of variations to teams, and a lot of innovation. Innovation can occur in a builder meta. But the World Championships is a pilot meta, whereas the surprises and the gotchas are more based on how the players play with a limited field of figures. Because the meta really is refined down to a select set of options. And really the pentagram of your select set of options was Pim Pocket Tank, Jakeem Thunder, Goblin King, Felix Faust, and depending on what you want to put in that 5th slot, it really was Supreme Intelligence. And I know some people would argue against that, but it really was Supreme Intelligence. Just the way the cards work, the ID cards work, Supreme Intelligence. If ID cards were restricted to the round table or the teleporter, functionally as a game mechanic, they would be way more balanced in the game of heroclix. It would actually lend people to consciously think about what they are going to do with their points a lot more. But because the mechanics are independent of the round table or the teleporter, or even just go further, Quinjet, it creates additional problems. Okay, so let's sort of just, rewind and unpack some things. I don't blame anything that my personal placement or dealings in the World Championship on anybody. I changed my team literally hours before the event. It was a bad idea. It was something I coached my people against. And I did it because I got mad at my 3-3 results, going 3-3 at Nationals, knowing that there were matches I could have won if I had A, stalled, or B, ran. And I didn't. Okay? And then on top of that, I got tired of Nick Fury freaking hitting me for freaking 6 or 8 or whatever else. I just got tired of all that. And I made a wrong emotional response. Okay? And I'm saying this to help people learn. Is that you'll encounter something and then you can get butthurt and then you'll be like, man, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna play this. Screw everybody. Ha ha ha. And if you haven't play tested it, then you're hurting yourself. You're just hurting yourself. You're not making a point. But if anyone said like, hey, I want to see who really is the best player, and I'm going to hand them 2 bags of the same thing. That's pretty much what we had in this meta. You can add and say like, look, Cosmic Spider-Man was a factor, and I'm like, Cosmic Spider-Man as an ID card is a factor. Once that ID card goes away, Cosmic Spider-Man as a game factor will greatly go down because he can't fight Goblin King because he doesn't have prob or perplex. Okay, and the main reason they did that is they didn't want any stupid, like, dumb rulings about can Cosmic Spider-Man prob through blocking terrain? Can he perplex through blocking terrain? They just didn't want to deal with it, so they didn't give it to him. I mean, duh, it's obvious. They didn't want to deal with Cyclops again. And for people who don't know, AVX Cyclops, before I think they errated or ruled otherwise, at one point in time can outwit through walls. So yeah, stupid stuff like that. But yeah, I digress. But pretty much, everybody was playing about the same thing. Jakeem, Goblin King. Goblin King at full. The only variant was PJ's Rushdown team. That was it. It was like, oh, okay, I'm about to go to a match. Okay, I'm about to play Jakeem. Okay, I'm about to deal with Faust and Jakeem. Oh, or Goblin King and Jakeem. Okay, and then the supporting cast. Oh, okay, so you have Jakeem and Faust with the BGA. Okay, cool. That's fine. Like there's so many. There's so many things that you would think people would play, but there was not an incentive. Like, even if we said, like, hey, Sinister Syndicate, theme team, yay, that's goodness. Everybody was like, funk that, F-O-N-K. Something we said when I was in middle school, funk that. Because there's no reason. Goblin King, even if you come in, you're like, woohoo, I wrecked your Jakeem. Goblin King comes back and is like, Pulse Wave, boom, knocked all your values down. Oh, I have it, Pulse Wave Invincible, boom, boom, boom. Okay, now you hurt me a little bit, Steel Energy Quake. Quake Pulse, Quake Prob. So I do 2 damage to your entire team, and not, 2 damage to your entire front line of Doc Ock, and not, 1. Okay, or I can be like, hey, Quake Precision Strike because of that one Super Senses character. Like, from a support perspective, I'm going to pull off real quick Engineer. Engineer comes in at 90 points, and she gives you 4 clicks of utility. Okay? Decent numbers. You can pick everything but a defensive power. And you can pick 1 power per slot. She was stupid level flexible. But I'm going to tell you this, people. I at multiple occasions picked Invincible Regen on Goblin King. And survived stuff I should have never survived. Never should have survived. Okay? just because I could do that. I could pick Invincible, Regen, I could pick Prob, Perplex, I could pick Outwit, Prob. There are too many things that a 75-point Goblin King does that breaks the game. Like, functionally breaks the game. For its stats, for its options, for its traits. Because, yes, you get those traits while he's a low level. And I think most people forgot about, oh yeah, -1 to your attack when you target Goblin King the next time. Like, Goblin King is far more broken than anybody recognizes right now at 75 points. At 175, I still uphold to my statement, with the right team, and you can build and pump up Jakeem, he can one-shot, run-and-shot, pulse wave a Goblin King. Just saying. Does that mean that Goblin King is horrible or he's 15 steps behind Jakeem? No, Goblin King is literally like a half an inch behind Jakeem. It's just that one element that Jakeem has that gives him a very big advantage. Also coming in at 140 instead of 175. That allows him a little bit more flexibility and customization that just realistically Goblin King doesn't have. So I look at this year for Worlds coming down to less of a build skill and more of a pilot skill when it comes to, singles Worlds. From Team Worlds, I think it was more of a build skill with a pilot skill and and some luck. So you can look at Team Worlds to still be a good measurement of skill, but if you look at Team Worlds as a good measurement of skill, there's not that much difference between top 16 of teams and top 16 of singles. So you could easily say, minus myself, minus myself, that a majority of players that made top 16 at they made top 16 at teams, either made top 16 in nationals or worlds. So there's a lot there. There's a whole lot there to unpack, and so I feel that anybody that comes back and says look, Howard Brock won because the world championship because he had Goblin King. No, he's a good player. I do the rock stuff. If you sleep on Howard's results over the last year and a half, that's on you. It's easy to focus on Easton, but if you sleep on Howard's placement, that's on you. You could come back and say hey, look, blah 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 blah, had this team in Team Seal. That's one team out of 3. It's one team out of 3. So there are some elements there that I think a lot of folks would overlook. But anyway, when we look at prizing and just trying to sort of funnel everything down, we look at prizing. WizKids coming back and saying for teams that everybody gets their own set of stuff is good on their part. The counter into it is that means that there's less payouts at lower levels. That's completely fine. When it comes to singles, they do what they do. I'm not going to complain about nationals not getting any LEs or anything like that. I'm not going to complain as much about grinders sort of being like this, you're playing a bunch of events to win some points and then you get an LE. I know some people were mad about that because they could functionally get more LEs by playing Battle Royales for the time, and I get that. You could make more money, quote unquote, off of Battle Royales than you did off of playing grinders, but at the same time, you achieve something in grinders you can't get from Battle Royales, and that's a chance to get 4 or 8 points to enter into the World Championships. Because again, the World Championships is a gated tournament. It's a gated tournament. Alright? And that's something that people have to remember. As long as it's a gated tournament, you're going to have to pay the cost of getting through the gate. If you don't want to pay the cost and you just want to pay, play, a situation where you're a gold farmer, go ahead. Go play the gold farmer thing. Don't complain to me that you can't be both a gold farmer and, the world champion. I know Zeus was going for like $100 on eBay or something. I don't know why Zeus is sort of crap. I really don't get that. But for some reason, someone somewhere thought Zeus was worth way more than he actually is. And just to prove that I'm not talking smack out the side of my butt, I'm going to bring up AC Realms here. And I'm just going to break down real quick why Zeus is crap. And I know this is off the rail after I said, let's funnel this down. It's like I derail my own thread. Now, I know whoever's selling Zeus would not like, me saying this, but, there's like 300 people that listen to this show. So, you're not going to lose any money, man. I'm not... I don't get the pimp views, okay? But let's see. Here we go. Zeus. All right. So you start off 280 full points. He's only 9 clicks. You can get what was it? Red Sun Superman, and he's 11. So automatically, right there, you got problems. He's Mystic and Quint, which is like yay. He has Divine Aura, which is like okay. That's sort of good. And the main reason I say sort of good is because you got these variable point values. Divine Aura may or may not come into play. Alright. So up front, he gets unlimited control of nature. Zeus gives Zeus a free action and choose a standard attack power. So, okay, he has pick a power at 280 with a 12 attack and 5 damage. But at 280, for 280 points, I can pump up a Jakeem to do way more. I could pump up a freaking Goblin King to do way more than this. Okay, now I know some of you could say, but look, with 3 perplexes, I can one-shot Jakeem. I'm like, yeah, you could, but you're looking at like 500 points. And at 500 points, not only could I bring in a pimp Jakeem, he'll have freaking, the Supremes behind him. And I can, pay for like 1/5 of the Philharmonic. Alright? Like I would have like the best, backup singers and accoutrements, and wipe your Zeus off the map. Like just being honest, 9 range to Jakeem's 8 and to Goblin King 7 is nothing. Like that advantage is nothing. 3 lightning bolts to Jakeem 2, I can understand how that can be useful. Definitely if you're going to pick Precision Strike. But still, again, like I don't see how this is going to translate into long-term damage. And you're limited to attack power. So I can't pick Prob. I can't pick Range Combat Expert. I can't pick Close Combat Expert. I'm really technically stuck to Precision Strike, Energy Explosion. If you're Idiot Blades. Definitely Blades right now. Precision Strike, Psychic Blast. Like that's really it. If you Quake, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like you have to be in like a perfect setup to Quake. And even then I'm like, you quaked? What the heck? Then he gets Leadership and Outwit just to make it so that he can do his 5 damage a bit more. And there's really nothing that you can put on Zeus to make him better. Okay. And that's the problem. At 300 points, he's not even viable at 280. Then you go and look at 200. You lost those top 2 clicks. You're sidestep, so you're not even really getting any good mobility out of him. He has his pick of attack power. Okay, great. He has his Leadership and Outwit. He only has 1 click of that. Then he quickly goes into Shape Change and RCE, which I'm like, nah, man, I'm not feeling that. And then we go look at his lower point dial at 150. He's running shot, 10 attack, 17 defense, 4 damage with Pulse Wave, Impervious, and Shape Change. And I'm like, yes, I can get a Jakeem Thunder that's way better than this. So why would I play this? Why? And he's cheaper. So yeah, he's utter trash. Like, utter trash. I could get a Bat Knight. I can get 3 Bat Knights together, and they would do a better job than Zeus. Just being honest. Just being honest. I would even back Doomsday over Zeus, the con exclusive Doomsday. Yeah, I would even say that. I would back the con exclusive Superman over Zeus. Because I could slap a Supreme Intelligence on him, wait to click 2, now my Superman is hypersonic speed with 12 movement, 12 attack, 19 defense, willpower stealth, 5 damage, and gets running shot pulse wave with 5 damage for less points than Zeus. I don't. And he has a Superman TA, so he can see through stealth. So yeah, I don't get it. You know, and he's 11 clicks. He's 11 clicks. Like that just hurts. That just has to hurt. He's less points, does just about the same amount of damage, and he's more clicks of life and has better stats. Like, yeah, he's Superman. He's Superman. Now, I know some folks will be like, you know, this is the first Zeus we ever got, and blah, 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 he's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know, enjoy it. Have fun. If you got one, have fun. But, no, he's crap. So, yeah, I derailed my own show. I love it. I know you love it, too, and that's why you listen. Real quick, from the Con LE perspective, I know a lot of folks are going to be like, you know, hey, was it worth it to do all this stuff and get all these Con LEs and all these things and that things? And I got to be honest to you. I got to be honest with you. Real talk. And mark my words on this. Come September, yeah, about September, boxing ring, $125. Boxing ring is going to be $125. And you're going to say that's more than double the price. And I'm going to say yes. Because all the people trying to unload their boxing rings will have unload them. So you don't have the con influx. You'll have the last remnants from Gen Con trying to sell, you know, their con exclusives. The WizKids Opens won't be until November. And on top of that, you have Rocktober right there, and everybody trying to get ready for Rocktober and get the boxing ring for Rocktober. That is going to be a huge game changer. So watch it now, and I'm calling it now. Boxing ring, $125. The Superman's not bad. Muhammad Ali is freaking magic. Freaking magic. I don't think folks understand how good Muhammad Ali is. You could get Muhammad Ali up there. Okay. You could, hell, let me back up. You can have any Superman. Muhammad Ali will have the same. He doesn't count for against theme team, so he doesn't break theme. And at the beginning of the game, Muhammad Ali may choose to use Battle Fury this game, so he could just be like, man, you know, Superman don't need no plane. And I'm not talking about Superman. I'm talking about myself. You know. You know, and he could wreck dudes. He could have Battle Fury. He sidesteps in, clocks you. And then he's like, yeah, I got precision strike, so you can't dodge me. And, oh gosh, he's so good. He's so good. There is so much he could do. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but yeah, Muhammad Ali, he's going to change the game. So good. Oh gosh, so good. I got you. But anyway, Sinestro. I know I'm going to repeat what everybody's going to say. Having played him at full, he's amusing. You need a lot of work behind him. 175, I don't really see that happening as a functional build at all. 250, I don't see that as a functional build at all. You get a lot of clicks, but I don't, like I said, I don't see it as a functional build at all. He lacks too much, and you don't have enough points to back him up. And you won't ever be able to play him at Rock Limited, where he actually would be devastating. So because of that, he's not going to be a factor. But where he is going to be the stupidest factor and the most annoying of all is as a Colossal Retaliator at 25 points, because he has Perplex and a Colossal Retaliation. And this dude is, I mean, two of them, I think, is probably by far one of the best investments that you can have. Because not only did you spend 50 points to get 2 Perplexes, you also get the Armored Immunity trait, where Sinestro can't be targeted by Exploit Weakness, Incapacitate, Mind Control, or Psy Blast. So there is that. Also, he has a 10 range for his... he has a 10 range. So if he's going to fight other Colossals, he can. He has a 9 movement, which means if he carries other people that are smaller, he's just going to move 9 movement. He's not going to be affected by that. So he's a decent taxi. Not a primary attack taxi, but a secondary taxi. He can perplex up his movement to get more mileage out of himself. Or he can perplex up his defense. Now, his defense is low. I'll give you that. He can get shot all day. But there's nothing stopping, a Superman defend or whatever else to make that defense a little bit more chunky. I think we're going to see a tech innovation here. And when he Colossal retaliates, he pretty much says, hey, man, I hit you, and you can't attack next turn. That's huge. With the Alvarez chick, now he has Precision Strike. So I perplex up his attack to 11, perplex up using the other Sinestro, perplex up his attack to a 12. Boom. Precision Strike, hit everybody around. Oh, you can't attack next turn. That's game changing. That's what Solaris should have been. But anyway, I think that's going to be a huge problem for the meta, and I think this is the year where we don't get a Faust. We get multiple Faust-like future problems, and I think that's the problem that we're dealing with, is that we're getting and we're set up for multiple future Faust-like problems. The boxing ring, Sinestro construct, or the giant Sinestro, Bebop and Rocksteady, depending on how you look at it. Because if you look at their values, sidestep, 11 attack, 4 damage, and that pretty much they're able to make 2 attacks. And I think that friendly character of 25 points or more shares a keyword may target Bebop and Rocksteady with mind control. So you allow for friendly mind control. So, it's a 19. It's a 19, but it's mind control. It's still friendly mind control. So that's an issue as well. So when you stack a bunch of things together, Bebop and Rocksteady potentially can be very, very powerful, or like absolutely nothing all, depending on the situation and what you can, alter them with. So I'll just leave it at that. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for listening to today's show. You can follow me on Twitter. It came from outer space and told me, man, FedEx is your friend. And not only that, dude, if you're going to take a nap, make sure you set the alarm so you can wake up to go to the salsa club. I messed that up so bad. I messed that up so bad. Yeah, so you can check out my random musings on Twitter. You can find out when a new show is up. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. What did you think about Origins this year? Also, you can buy the Gen 2 Starting Over Podcast t-shirt on the link below. I'm sorry, I'm not selling freaking Phoenix Nest jerseys. They cost us $40. And I want that to be for team members only. And if you didn't see what the Phoenix Nest jersey looks like, check out the WizKids page and look at my boy Matt Grecanos. You know, check it out. You'll see we're on fire, straight hot fire with the team jerseys. We were so pimp walking through. We had folks from other games looking at us, asking who we were. It so awesome. Yeah, so that's it. I'd like to thank you all for listening. And I'm going to try to get the last bit of my Origins videos and just tack it on here at the end. So, yeah. And enjoy this last bit of content. Yo, Shaky Cam, last day of Origins. It's 10 o'clock. I know like everything closes at noon. Sort of wanted to get a cool nerd shirt this year. I don't think I'll be able to do it. Wearing the Gen 1 Phoenix Nest representing Firebird shirt. Just had some like general thoughts. Number one, folks were wondering like, yo, what's the secret sauce on things? And the truth of the matter is there isn't a secret sauce. You know, there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of effective formulas out there, because the formula for Majestics and the formula for Stratagem, the formula for Clicksman, which quote my words right now, Uncanny Clicksman, they are going to be a major mover and shaker at Rocktober. Quote my words on that, okay? They're not uniform. Each team has its own mottos. Each team has its own thought processes. Each team has, the things that they're focused on. And I think that some people are like, well, I need to be on a successful team, and that will allow me to become a better player. Whereas it's like you need to be on a team that has the same philosophy, thought process, and mindset that you have. So, yeah, great weekend. I'm getting ready to, like I said, exchange in these extra tickets and generic tokens. I don't want to be stuck with like $30 of generic tokens that turns into worthless plastic like literally in 2 hours. So that's it for right now, and I'll check y'all a little bit later on my adventure home. All right, I got my friend, as always, Mr. Howard Brock and Warren Jen act silly. You got to get on the track somewhere. All right, you had an awesome weekend, like best ever.
I don't think it could be better.
All right, so let's sort of talk about some things. What do you think of the format this year of Origins?
Perfect. No complaints whatsoever. A little bit of a They made an adjustment from Nationals to Worlds when they ran 6 rounds and they rushed the rounds on Nationals. They quickly fixed that, which I was impressed that they fixed it that quick. From that point on, no problems. Judging, excellent. In between rounds, excellent. The formats, excellent. No problem.
There we go. All right, so the next thing I want to ask you is, like, from day to day, just having everything in one day, does that make the event a lot better from an organizational standpoint?
Well, coming from Rock, that's what we do mostly in Rock. You know, big tournaments, it's all one day. So I'm fine with that. I like it.
Okay. Also, so going in, everybody's wondering, I'm like, so practicing from Worlds, you came up with the idea for the symbiote to be on Goblin King.
Yep.
All right. Everybody knows Goblin King's a hotness. Why the symbiote not a resource?
Because it actually is a resource in a way. All right, Goblin King gets to pick 2 powers. He doesn't need a resource. But then if you're giving him powers that he has permanent and their plasticity, free breakaway, and shape change that's permanent on his dial, plus the 2 that you can pick, that's better than any resource you can put on him.
Yes. So that last full episode of Starting Over podcast, where I sort of called this, again, I'm not saying I'm prophetic, but again, sometimes a blind squirrel can pick up a nut. All right, so going back, playing it out, because we mainly saw like a few of your games on stream, but definitely like playing it out in practice, how much is that mobility factor and that added defense that the symbiote gives to Goblin King, how does that usually translate in most games?
All right, well, the team is designed, when I was thinking this team, I guess that's the best way to put it. It's designed that you really can't hurt me or take me out unless you take the Goblin King out. You can kill everything else on my team, and I still got 175 point plus symbiote and possible call-ins sitting on the table. As long as I got that, I'm good. So most people, they shoot across, and they take out something little, and I lose my pin take, I lose the atom, but I'm still in the game. And I have enough firepower back that when you do that, I'm probably going to take something out and go up ahead. So it was built on resiliency. And as far as moving across the board, you just have to take your time. I do have a TK. Sometimes the plan was to sidestep up and call out, TK back. Sometimes it was to call out and TK up whatever I called out. It just
depends on the situation.
Depends on the situation.
Okay. So here's the big thing, and I just think from a constructive standpoint, do you think years ago we had a free action problem? Then after that it became entities were the thing. Is the new issue in the meta pick a power?
It is now. It might not be in a few months with the new rules. Of course, that doesn't. Goblin King is still unaffected by that to a large degree. But yeah, Pitka powers are running rampant right now.
Okay. All right. So going on to Team Worlds, tell everybody about the God Pool.
What I would tell you is that we've done well in teams, but we have never. What I mean, we finished 5th last year. At the Rock Cup, we finished 2nd. We never had we had good pools, not great pools. This was a great pool, and when we pulled it, we knew we had a legitimate chance of winning it all. I mean, come on. I had Valkyrie and Black Knight and a Chase Captain America on my team. And then we had another super rare Wakanda team with Warren. He had the Black Panther super rare with all the
like a bazillion Black Panthers. I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
On
Face
another
that.
team. And then we had, in my opinion, probably the best pool that you can get in the set. We had a Man Thing defender team on Easton's team, and it was tough. We all lost. Easton got his first loss in the championship. We all lost all day, but we never lost together.
Yeah, and that's what really matters. If you would give anybody any mindset for team events, what would be the best mindset you would tell people to have? Prepare
at the set for team building, because team building, 6 boosters, you've got to prepare. Yeah, thank you. You've got to prepare for the team building aspect, and you've got to be able to go in there. We were quickly able to look at what we had and go boom, 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 and build 3 good teams.
All right. So, sort of going forward, looking at like everything that we have coming up from a competitive standpoint, what is the next big event you're looking forward to going to?
The next big event, we're going to Gen Con. We're going there because it's a trade day. They got some WKOs that are going on. I think there's 3 WKOs going on.
So you just get requalified for nationals next year.
Well, it's the competition. We enjoy playing. It's not necessarily to qualify. Sometimes just to play. And after that, the Rock Cup.
All right. Well, his battle royale is about to fire off. First, like actual legit interview I know I've done this entire time. I'd like to thank Howard Brock, my good friend and competitor.